Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I'm your English teacher Zia. I hope that you're doing well. My dear learners, I welcome you to English grade 7. Today we are going to cover a student's learning outcome of writing. Let's read our student's learning outcome and see how we can achieve it. So this is unit number 5, as you already know. Now our SLO says, write a simple descriptive composition giving physical description and characteristics or traits of a person, object, or place, moving from general to specific using correct punctuation, complex vocabulary, and spelling. By using the process approach, brainstorm, mind mapping, writing a first draft and final draft. We will also see another student's learning outcome attached with it, which says to use summary skills to write an objective summary of the given text. So now, my dear learners, these are two SLOs merged into one. Our main focus is on descriptive composition or descriptive writing. It's a kind of writing, we will see about that, and then we need to follow the process approach of writing. In that, when we are beginning to write, we actually plan for the writing. We brainstorm, we make mind maps, and all these things mentioned in our students' learning outcome. This is when we create a first draft, and then we finalize our draft, our written material on paper, and then submit it. We will also see that how we can write objective summary of any given text. Let's begin. Now, here is your vertical linkage, followed by a brainstorming activity, as we always do. Now, think about it. We are talking about descriptive composition and descriptive writing. Whenever you see the word composition, it means we are talking about writing, composing our text. Now, you have to describe a person you admire or you like in detail. What makes them unique and special? Now, we are going to describe personality traits or some important points about a person. Think about it, students. Give description. We are talking about descriptive composition, where we give details and descriptions of people, of things, or of different places. Now, think about a person that you admire, that you like, and then give their description, the way they look, the way they talk, and so much more. Think about it so that we can move forward. Now, this was your prompt to get started into the lesson. Now, let's talk about descriptive writing or descriptive composition. Descriptive is taken from the word description, which means giving so much detail that the reader can actually visualize and imagine the whole situation, the person, or the thing, or the place. This is why we give description to things, so that the reader can easily imagine it. Now let's see. What does descriptive writing do? It creates a picture or image of a person, place, thing, or event. Now the description tells that what something looks, sounds, smells, tastes, or feels like. Now, this means that we will be involving our 5 senses. Our sense of seeing, sense of touch, hearing, smell, and feeling. Now, my dear learners, in order to make a very good descriptive composition and writing a descriptive paragraph or essay, you need to be very much capable enough to use these descriptions and touch the senses of the reader. Now, if you do this, then we can say that this is a descriptive composition or a descriptive piece of writing. Now, let's talk about another thing mentioned in our students' learning outcome. Yes, it was moving from general to specific method. This is a writing method. It's a writing technique where we talk about a general thing at first, at the start, and then we become very specific and very focused on those things. So general to specific method is very important when we are writing a descriptive paragraph or essay. Let's see. In descriptive writing, this general to specific method means starting with a broad description, with a very big description, and then adding more detailed information step by step. You start with a strong opening that sets the scene and draws the reader in. It means your opening line, your opening statement should be very much engaging and captivating for the reader. Then you become more specific and particular about the topic. This is what we call general to specific method. Let's talk about sensory details. My dear learners, we are going to make the reader feel the senses using our words. So we will be using sensory details. They are related to our senses. Let's see. We use sensory details to create a vivid picture in the reader's mind and describe what can be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, and felt. What do you mean by vivid? Vivid means a very clear picture that we create in the mind of the readers when we are using our sentences and our words. So we need to be touching each and every sense of the reader in order to make it feel captivating and engaging text. Now, let's talk about another thing mentioned in our student learning outcome, which is when we are writing descriptive composition, we need to be focusing on the correct punctuation. Here is an original sentence. The old spooky house creaked ominously in the wind. We have not used any punctuation mark except the full stop. But if you punctuate it, since it is describing something, it is describing a house, which is our noun. So the punctuated sentence would be, the old spooky house creaked ominously in the wind. We used a comma to give more description. We are saying that the house is old, spooky, scary, creaked ominously in the wind. So old and spooky, they are separated by a comma. So correct punctuation in your description, in your descriptive composition is very much important. Now, how do we vary our sentence structure? Yes, we need to be using different kind of sentence structure when we are writing a descriptive text. We will be using short, punchy sentences for emphasis. We use longer sentences to add detail. This keeps the reader engaged. So, when are you going to use short sentences? It is when you are actually emphasizing on something. Those sentences will be punchy, very short, and fulfilling the purpose. We are using longer sentences, a longer structure for explaining the details, for the descriptions. So this is how you will structure your descriptive composition. You will use short sentences for creating a very quick pace, and then you will be using the longer sentences to add detail in your descriptive composition. Now, we will be using figurative language. We know what a figurative language is. It is other than a normal language, we use different literary and figurative devices in our figurative language. So I hope that you can recall them as much as you can. We use figurative language such as similes and metaphors to add depth and complexity to our descriptions. So remember students, similes, metaphors, personifications, you can use all these literary and figurative devices in your descriptive composition when you are describing any place, any person, or any event. Here we are talking about transitions, using transitional words to connect our writing together. Now, further, on the contrary, as well as all these are your transitions, transitional devices or transitional words. we are moving from one idea to the other. We are moving from one description to the other in descriptive composition. Then we will be using our transitional words. Now, here, after learning about the descriptive composition and how you can compose one efficiently and correctly, now let's talk about summary writing. We are going to talk about objective summary. So, here are some steps for writing an objective summary. This is taken from your book. A summary is a short statement that gives the main points or ideas of something. So, an objective summary is a short statement or paragraph that tells what something is about but does not include irrelevant details or your opinions. An objective summary should not be written in the first person I. So, it means that we will avoid using the first person narrative. We will be using the third person narrative in our objective summary. You do not include your opinions in the summary. You have to focus on the original text and the things that are included in it. So, here are some rules. We will be writing in our own words. It means we will use our own words to make the summary objective. Objective means that we need to be not including ourselves in the summary. So this is what is difference between an objective and subjective summary. A subjective summary can include your opinions and your point of views, but an objective summary should be free of any kind of such things. So you will be writing in your own words. You will write a topic sentence at the beginning or at the start of the paragraph, the summary, and you will add important textual details and do not include opinions. Now, this is how you formulate and compose an objective summary. Let's talk about it in detail. For example, if you want to write an objective summary of a story, first you will read the story, then identify the main parts, remove non-essential details, and write a short paragraph using your own words. So just include important details in the story, use your own words, and this way you can create a very good objective summary of any story. Now here, my dear learners, you can see a simulation link that you can later play it later on after the lesson, and you can learn more about descriptive composition, how we can write a very good descriptive essay or paragraph, including touching the sensory details, vivid verbs, specific words, and so much more that we talked about. Here you can see a classroom activity over here. Let's see what you're supposed to do. You have to brainstorm and list your responses in mind map titled Mother. It means the mind map will be about mother, and then you can create different kinds of subcategories. Reflect how your mother worked restlessly in spite of facing problems in life so that her family might enjoy a happy life. Use free writing techniques to note down your ideas first, then proofread your first draft, then finalize it. Now this is what you're supposed to do. You can make a mind map. We have already talked about making a mind map. Write your topic in the middle with a circle, and then put the relatable ideas around that central topic. This way you can create a mind map, and then you will use the technique of free writing, where you are writing without any problem and without worrying about the grammar and structure. So this way you can write a very good paragraph or essay about your mother. Here is your worksheet. The worksheet includes descriptive composition and also an objective summary writing. Here is your homework where you have to make this project. You have to search out the internet and prepare a chart of the status of women in Islam and their roles in human development. You can take verses from the Holy Quran and share your gathered information in your class. And after doing that, after doing research and collecting data, you can write a very good descriptive composition, or you can just simply write a paragraph or an objective summary of that research. Here are your resources, your presentation worksheet and lesson plan. These will be added and they can be found in the description of the video. You can access them easily. You have to solve them, students, in order to put your knowledge and wisdom that you have learned into practice so that you can become good writers and can easily write any descriptive composition. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that we have covered our students' learning outcomes that we had today. We talked about descriptive composition, how we can compose a very good descriptive essay or descriptive writing, and we also talked about how we can use those process approach of writing where you will first think about the topic, brainstorm it, and then you can draft it and then finalize it. We also talked about objective summary writing. I hope I'll see you in the next video lesson with a very good and fresh mind. Revise this lecture, it's very important. Take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.